We had the financial crisis in 2007, 2008. So I called Bret and I was like, hey Bret, what do you think about buying a sailboat, sailing around the world for a little bit? If I find a boat, would you be in? We didn't know how to sail. We didn't know what a good boat was or a bad boat, but she looked pretty sweet. So she was the right price. Bought her for $30,000. You got friends that are scared for your life. You got family that doesn't want you to go. And so you got a lot of barriers where people are just like, it's a bad idea. And the only person thinking it's a good idea is you. So sometimes you just gotta do what you think is right. Yeah, my father absolutely did not want us to go. Our father did not want us to go. He was really adamant about us waiting and learning, primarily for safety concerns. My grandfather spent a lot of time in the Navy and had seen some rough weather out at sea. My mother, on the other hand, didn't have any idea and just decided that it was a cool idea to go to all these beautiful islands that she could come visit us, so she wasn't against it whatsoever. Every single person in the yacht club had had a experience of being carjacked or robbed at gun or knife point. There was a decent number of people that had been killed or known someone that had been killed. So it's just a really, really dangerous place. There was one instance in particular which is very close. You really got to worry about the gray sharks because they get real close and they want the fish. So they're curious. They're curious. So they'll take your arm for the fish. They don't mind. So Bret goes down, shoots it, is coming up with it, and this gray shark, it's probably like a 6-footer, like not that big, but it's a 6-footer, is coming up and it sees Bret, and Bret's looking at the boat, and he's got like almost a 180-degree scan in front of him, and I'm keeping it on his back, and this shark's just coming up in his blind spot, like right here, and it's a gray shark, and I'm on the other side of him, like over here, probably like 4 feet, so I have to reach over Bret's body and poke this shark as he's probably like a foot to 6 inches like away from Bret's arm that's like holding the fish that's coming up to the boat. Like, you just really have to be on your game, because if you're off, you are just in serious trouble. Yeah, I had just been robbed. They took like some money, they ransacked our boat, they had all of our spear fishing equipment packed and ready to go. It's kind of an interesting feeling being out there with, you know, just space and being comfortable with the space that's around you, being comfortable with the risk that that entails. You know, any storm system could come through and just sink your boat, which, you know, isn't likely, but it could happen, and, you know, you could spend your whole time worrying about it, or you could just accept that that's how it is and deal with it. Makai she looked like the strongest of her litter, and so we asked her if she would be up for the challenge of sailing around the world, and she kind of looked at us and fell asleep, and so we picked her out.
A rare sight indeed. A Siberian Husky. In the tropics.
But she would always, I mean, she just learned, she would always walk on the high side of the boat when she was going up. So she was always in a safe spot, and if it was moderate conditions or light conditions, she'd usually be on the low side of the boat or whatever side had the shade, so she would always find the shade. Makai would swim from our boat to inevitably whatever boat had the most attractive girls. So typically in Tahiti it would be topless girls. Yeah, so Makai swims from from our boat to this local boat that had these two girls that were just sitting waist deep in the water and topless. As far as where Mackay goes to the bathroom, which is a very common question, we set up a piece of AstroTurf in the front, and we didn't even have to train her. Mackay walked up to the front of the boat, found the piece of AstroTurf, went to the bathroom there every single time.
Alright, so we're in the middle of the Sea of Cortez. Yay! Between Cabo and Mazatlan. We have Bret and Mackay over here. Mackay picked up some fleas in Mexico. So she is getting a bath. Mackay doesn't really like baths, but she is starting to like the water. So we like that.
So we love to call Mackay a wolf, and sometimes we were exaggerating, mostly in Central America, other times in French Polynesia and places where she was actually on land. It turned out to be true. We were in Tonga, and Chad and I had an affinity for hunting, be it by land or by sea. Most of the islanders have packs of dogs that hunt with them, and we thought it an adequate opportunity to train Mackay in the art of hunting wild boar. It's a pretty dangerous game, but I mean, she's a wolf dog. We thought she was up for it. Mackay sits there, she hears it, she looks at us, and we look at her, and then she just takes off. She's like, we're hunting, right? And, I'm like, yeah, we're hunting. She understands the concept of hunting, she doesn't understand what we're hunting for. Yeah. So Mackay is just gone, takes off. And so we get back to the camp, and Mackay is just chilling there. She has her paw on this wild chicken, and she's just looking at us. First of all, wondering where we've been. Her second thought was, why didn't you bring anything back? And her third thought was, well, at least I got something. Well, first of all, showers were pretty much non-existent unless you had a squall come through. If you saw one coming your way, you'd scream down below, like, shampoo, soap. Person down below would throw that up and you just strip down, and then the squall would come through and you'd have a natural shower.
Oh, these guys are getting a little closer, so Captain Bret says we're attacking. We're attacking. All right. Till next time. What are those bungs gonna do for us?
Make sure it doesn't leak in your bed.
That's what I'm talking about. Dry boat is always a good boat.
Dry boat. So the thing that makes semester at Sea Alumni great is they're just everywhere around the world. And I mean, one time we were out on this really small island called Isla Gomez. We didn't really know where we were. We just saw these islands on a map. We didn't have a good GPS at that point, just a little paper map that barely labeled these islands. We didn't really have much food. We were kind of just searching. At this point we were searching for rum. So we go on this island and we're walking around the island. We assumed that there was a village and a grocery store, and there just wasn't. The next day we go on the beach and we're hanging out. We're climbing the coconut trees, getting coconuts, catching fish, getting oysters, and this small little local boat comes up, and there's these mid-50s white people on this boat. And we're thinking, where are these people coming from? We start talking to them, and we're like, what are you guys doing out here? And they're just like, oh yeah, we're vacationing, just checking out this island. And lo and behold, they're all semester at Sea alumni, just looking for this cool island to hang out on. And the island that they chose was just this gorgeous island that in the middle of nowhere, beautiful white beach. And they were just wondering what the hell we were doing because we're just climbing these coconut trees and drinking rum out of coconuts. And that's the best thing about semester at sea is you meet people like that, and you all have the same travel mentality and kind of the same flair for life. Our primary diet, as would be expected, is fish. We caught a lot of them. We knew how to fish before we left. We knew how to fish way better than we knew how to sail. Spear fishing, we caught them on hand lines, we caught them with cast nets, we caught them trolling, we caught them casting, we caught them every way that you can catch a fish. So we get out there and just start slaughtering these albacore. These albacore about this big. We get about a dozen of them and then come back to the boat, and then we start distributing to some of the other people in the anchorage. And then people started to notice is like these guys that sailed into this anchorage and then started distributing all these fish. So when we were in Tonga, and that's when we were diving every day, spearfishing. You know, that's how we were getting dinner. So, you know, it was part of our routine. One red snapper forgot. He kind of learned his lesson. I followed him to 70 feet. And so I finally took a shot, and I'm just kicking my way, just trying to get to the surface because I'm totally out of breath. And so I'm about 30 feet from the surface. I look down, and there's these 3 sharks that are just devouring this fish that I just shot. You see these islanders, we go down 40 feet, and we just watch them just disappear below us. Yeah. And then we're like, where the hell are they going? We get on 70 feet, and then they continue to disappear. Yeah. It's unreal. It's unreal. Those guys are amazing. Yeah, so I mean, after watching those guys dive, you just have such a respect for their lifestyle and just what they love to do. They just love being in the water. We downplay it, but everyone on the main island they were ready to call the Coast Guard from New Zealand to have them fly 1,400 miles up to Tonga to come and rescue us.
So we got Bret sitting here at the helm. We are, how many miles away are we, Bret? How many miles have we gone? A lot. This is day 34. 545, I think. A lot. And you can see it's a gorgeous day. Beautiful day. And then we have the islands.
This bay, Nukuhiva, also had these massive hammerhead sharks. Never seen these hammerheads like this. I mean, they were 10 foot hammerhead sharks. People were diving off their boat, swimming around, and I mean, the water wasn't that clear, so you couldn't see them, but they were definitely there. And so nobody believed us that there were these huge hammerheads because everyone was swimming off the back of their boat, and if they knew that there were hammerheads, there's no way they'd be swimming. So what we did, we went over to a buddy's boat and we brought our fishing rod. We're like, there's sharks down there if you guys like swimming, because you guys have been swimming every day. No way. Take it, throw it in. 3 minutes later, the line just starts screaming out. It's one of those 6-8 foot hammerheads, you know? And they never saw it, but they knew that there was something big down there because it broke the line. It scared everyone out of the bay. Scared everyone out of the bay. They didn't go swimming after that. Yeah, so Daniels Bay. Daniels Bay is where the first Survivor was filmed, and we met these two princes there that were there kind of overseeing the Survivor film, and they were telling so many great stories about all these idiots that were trying to survive and losing all this weight when there's these fruit trees and there's goats and there's, you know, crabs that you can eat.
Coconut crabs, yeah. And there's fish everywhere, and there's lobsters in the holes, and these people are losing 60 pounds because they're surrounded by food but don't have the knowledge or the ability to gather it. So we hung out with these princes and they asked us if we wanted to go goat hunting. So yeah, so they took us around the island, these beautiful views and some pretty cool landscape. Just trying to get these goats, and they ended up getting one. Chad and I saw it as a competition, so we were kind of mimicking them, throwing rocks, trying to, you know, get the goats to go one way. And I had one shot. You know, this goat that was kind of walking briskly, not a full run. And I missed him by about 4 inches high. I think the bow is a little off, or I just hadn't shot it in months, but yeah, so I missed, but the Islanders got one, and the result was a pretty good feast on Survivor Beach. Not sure how much diesel we have left, but we only have about half a mile to go, so I'm sure we'll make it. This is Bret signing off. In Tonga, we decided to dive our mooring, which was just over 100 feet. So we free dive down to the mooring, and then we take turns just trying to get this job done. You know, you get down there, and you're in the sand, it's 108 feet deep, and you look up, and it's just 100 feet just looks so far. It's a 10-story building. Yeah. It looks so far, and it's so cool being that deep and seeing the fish and everything else around you. It's pretty cool. One of our biggest accidents was
you know, me almost breaking my hand on the winch that ripped out of the mast.
Off the coast of Guatemala, calm night, no moon, very dark, and we hear this fishing boat. It came suspiciously close. So Brett's getting a little freaked out, so he yells at me, "Jack, come up here." Because you don't see it. It doesn't have any lights on. It's just cruising around us. And so, not to be at a disadvantage, we turn off our lights. So now we're even. We had a Louisville Slugger. We had slingshot with marbles. We had 3 spear guns, locked and loaded, ready to go, and a flashlight. We take the light and we just flash it on them, and they see us and they just take off. We had a lot of other friends that had either been boarded and tied up and robbed, or there was this one boat that we had met in the Pacific, and they continued, and they were one of the ones that got boarded and killed in Somalia, off the coast of Somalia. Like, we looked at our boat, and our boat was completely self-sustaining. Like, when our engine didn't work, we couldn't burn diesel, couldn't run the engine, all we had was solar. So we're running all of our electronics, our music, our computers, our water pumps, our toilet, everything ran off of solar. So, I mean, we are like a completely self-sustained vessel. And we're catching fish every day. Catching fish, getting our own food, like, providing our own energy from the sun. When things break, you fix them. So it was a pretty cool experience. A lot of people ask us, you know, how much does it cost when you're sailing, and we'd go months at a time without spending a dime. Like, we wouldn't spend a dime because we just fix things on our boat, and we didn't need any external resources. We had everything that we needed. I mean, obviously, you know, there's cables and stuff. We had enough spare parts to keep going, but really, we'd spend months without doing it. It was free living. We didn't come with all these notions of how you're supposed to do it and what the right thing is. We just had to develop it along the way.
Rope and compass underway. Headed, let's see, in the wrong direction. As always, we should be going east. Alright, moving east. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah, so you're on a boat. When you're on a boat and you don't have any other resources, you just use what you have. I mean, that's all you have available, and if a screwdriver or a penny is all you got, that's what's gonna start your engine. It's not getting your satellite phone, calling, you know, a marine store and having someone helicopter a solenoid to you. That's just not gonna happen. So
yeah, and you're not in the States, so you're not worried about passing the next annual inspection. You're just you're just trying to make it work when you can.
You have all this time, and you kind of really get to get down to the things that are important to you, and the things that you love doing, what you hold important in your life, and you get to get past all of the external noise and external concerns and everything that you think about on a day-to-day basis. Eventually you get to pretty much nothing, or you have nothing to think about that you haven't thought about already. You know, if you take all the precautions that you can possibly do, you just have to be comfortable that that's the best that you can do. And that's where you're at. And then you can enjoy yourself. You know, you don't spend your time worrying. You spend your time, you know, breathing in the air and watching the sunrise and, you know, respecting all the really small things that happen. Mantra was a pretty significant part of the trip. You know, it kind of kept us grounded on what's important and focus on that. And I mean, it took us a while to develop. I think it was like, you know, the second month that we started, you know, working it up because we were having these reoccurring challenges and not focusing on what's important. So, you know, the mantra kind of kept us grounded. Today is a new day in our quest around the world.
Let's celebrate being alive and staying afloat.
Let's move forward and think clearly.
Use energy fight challenges, not each other.
Let's have fun and learn something new.
Toss a line in the water and catch lunch.
Sail hard with the wind and relax in the doldrums. Everyone stays in the boat. A clean boat is a safe boat. Keep the mast up, keel down, and make the most of the resources we have. Welcome to the Broken Compass.